A calm mind is a powerful mind. When chaos hits, when the pressure is on, when life throws everything it has at you, the one who remains calm is the one who controls the outcome. Look around. Most people panic. They lose their temper. They react emotionally. They get caught up in the storm. But you're different. You don't let the storm dictate your response. You stand firm. You think clearly because you understand one thing. In the middle of the storm, the calmest mind leads. Life will test you. It will push you, shake you, try to break you. There will be moments when everything seems to be falling apart. Moments where it feels like you have no control. But let me tell you this. Your power is in your ability to stay calm when everyone else is losing it. The moment you lose control of your emotion, you give the situation power over you. The moment you react without thinking, you let external circumstances dictate your destiny. And you are too strong for that. You are too disciplined for that. You are built for more than just reacting to life. You are built to master it. Think about the greats, the ones who stand tall in the face of adversity, the ones who rise when others crumble. They don't panic. They don't fold under pressure. They don't let fear, anger, or frustration dictate their next move. No, they step back, breathe, and analyze. They see the bigger picture. Because the one who stays calm is the one who sees the opportunities hidden inside the challenges. The reason warriors train their minds before they step into battle. There's a reason the greatest athletes, the greatest leaders, the greatest minds in history all practice discipline over their emotions because they understood that emotions are like wild horses. If you don't tame them, they will run you off a cliff. You can't afford to be reckless with your thoughts. You can't afford to be reckless with your emotions. Every time you let fear control you, you step further away from your purpose. Every time you let anger dictate your actions, you hand your power over to something outside of you. And that's not who you are. You are in control. No matter what happens around you, no matter how much pressure you're under, no matter who tries to push your buttons, you decide how you respond, and your response determines everything. See, most people don't train for this. They go through life reacting to whatever happens. Someone disrespects them, they snap. A problem arises, they panic. A challenge shows up, they break down. And that's why they never win. That's why they stay stuck. Because they never learn how to control the one thing that shaped their entire life, their mind. But that's not you. You are training for greatness. And greatness requires control. It requires discipline. It requires the ability to stand firm when everything around you is shaking. And the way you get there is through practice. Every single day, you have opportunities to train your mind to be calm. When you're stuck in traffic and someone cuts you off, that's a test. Do you react emotionally or do you take a deep breath and stay focused? When life doesn't go your way, when you hit an obstacle, when things don't happen on your timeline, do you throw a fit or do you step back, adjust, and keep moving? This isn't just about big moments. It's about the small daily moments where you either train yourself to be calm or allow yourself to be controlled by emotion. Every single time you choose calm over chaos, you are strengthening your mind. Every single time you refuse to let the situation define you, you are taking control of your destiny. Because here's the truth. Calmness isn't weakness, it's power. It's a weapon. It's what separates those who make history from those who get lost in it. You ever see a lion when it's hunting? It doesn't panic. It doesn't rush. It moves with precision. It calculates every step. It waits for the perfect moment to strike. That's the mindset you need to develop. You don't react just because something happens. You don't let frustration cloud your vision. You stay sharp. You stay focused. And when the moment is right, when you've assessed the situation, when you've thought through your next move, that's when you take action. That's how you win. Because let me tell you something, there will always be storms. There will always be challenges. There will always be moments that test you. But if you train yourself to stay calm, nothing can break you. Nothing can shake you. Nothing can stop you from becoming everything you were meant to be. So from this moment forward, decide that no matter what happens, you will remain in control. No matter what life throws at you, you will not be moved. You will not let fear, anger, or frustration take over. You will be the one who stays calm. And because of that, you will be the one who wins. Your emotions will either build your future or destroy it. They will either serve you or control you. And let me tell you right now, if you can't control your emotions will control you. And when that happens, you hand over your power to everything and everyone around you. You become a slave to the situation instead of the master of your response. You let anger, frustration, and fear dictate your next move instead of wisdom, clarity, and purpose. And that's the difference between those who win and those who stay stuck. Listen to me. Life is going to test you. People are going to push your buttons. Pressure is going to come. And if you don't train yourself to control your emotions, you'll react instead of respond. And when you react out of emotion instead of purpose, you make decisions that set you back instead of moving you forward. You ever see someone lose everything because of one emotional decision? One moment of anger, one moment of fear, one moment of frustration. That's all it takes. A single moment where they let their emotions control them instead of staying in control of themselves. You can't afford that. You have too much on the line. You have dreams to chase, goals to achieve, a future to build. You can't let temporary emotions cause permanent damage. That's what happens when you don't train your mind. You get angry in the moment, and suddenly you say something you can't take back. You get frustrated, and suddenly you walk away from something you were meant to fight for. You get discouraged, and suddenly you give up on something that was only one step away from success. You have to be stronger than that. You have to be smarter than that. You have to learn how to feel an emotion without letting it dictate your actions. You have to learn how to pause before you respond. Because here's the truth. Your first reaction is emotion, but your second reaction is discipline. That first reaction, that's the old you. That's the part of you that used to get angry, get frustrated, let fear take over. But the second reaction, that's who you really are. That's the person who is in control. That's the person who steps back, takes a breath, and responds with power instead of panic. And that's where your strength comes from. It comes from knowing that no matter what happens, you decide how you respond. Nobody can take that from you. Nobody can force you to react a certain way. They can try to push your buttons. They can try to get under your skin. They can try to make you feel small. But at the end of the day, you control you. And once you master that, once you train yourself to stay calm no matter what, you become unstoppable. See, most people think strength is about being loud. They think it's about reacting quickly, being aggressive, making sure everybody knows how they feel. But real strength, real power, that's an ability to stay silent when necessary. That's an ability to walk away from a fight that isn't worth your energy. That's an ability to take a deep breath and respond with wisdom instead of weakness. Because let's be real, anybody can get angry. Anybody can lose their temper. Anybody can lash out. That's easy. But controlling yourself, that takes discipline. That takes mental strength. That takes a level of self-mastery that most people never even attempt to reach. But you are different. You are training for greatness. And that means you don't allow temporary emotions to control permanent decisions. That means you don't let frustration, fear, or anger take you off your path. That means you don't waste your energy on things that don't serve your purpose. Because every time you let your emotions control you, you lose time, you lose focus, and you lose power. And that's a price you can't afford to pay. You have to start seeing emotional control as a skill, just like anything else. Just like you train your body to get stronger, just like you train your mind to get sharper, you have to train your emotions to serve you instead of work against you. That means practicing patience when you want to react. That means choosing silence when you want to argue. That means stepping back and thinking before you speak, before you act, before you make a decision you might regret. Because when you master that, when you get to the point where nothing shakes you, nothing breaks you, Nothing makes you react out of weakness. That's when you win. That's when you start moving with power, with purpose, with clarity. That's when you start making decisions that elevate you instead of hold you back. That's when you become the kind of person who doesn't just survive challenges, but thrives in them. So from this moment on, make the decision. No more emotional reactions. No more letting frustration control your next move. No more letting fear stop you from stepping forward. From now on, you are in control. You take a breath. You think, you respond with wisdom, with power, with discipline, and because of that, you will win. Life is about perspective. It's not what happens to you. It's how you see it, how you interpret it, how you respond to it. Two people can go through the same situation, face the same storm, deal with the same setbacks, but one will rise and the other will fall, not because one is stronger or smarter, but because one chose to see the situation differently. One chose to see the lesson, the opportunity, the way forward, while the other chose to see the problem, the pain, and the excuses. And that's the difference between winning and losing. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's perspective. Because what you magnify controls you. What you focus on becomes your reality. You ever notice how two people can be in the exact same struggle, but one will say, this is the worst thing that ever happened to me, while the other will say, this is the best thing that ever happened to me? Same situation, different perspective. And that perspective changes everything. You've got to train yourself to see things differently. You've got to stop letting fear shape your reality. You've got to stop letting frustration be the only lens you look through. Because if all you ever see is problems, you'll never find solutions. If all you ever see is obstacles, you'll never see opportunities. If all you ever see is pain, you'll never see growth. And if you can't shift your perspective, you will stay stuck in the same place, dealing with the same battles, wondering why your life isn't moving forward. I know it's hard. I know it's not easy to rewire your mind when you've been conditioned to think a certain way. You've been told that failure is bad. You've been told that struggle means something is wrong. You've been told that setbacks mean stop. That's a lie. That's a weak perspective. And you weren't built to be weak. You were built to see things differently. You were built to take every single struggle and use it as fuel. You were built to find the lesson in every loss, the wisdom in every wound, the strength in every setback. You've got to start asking yourself the right questions. When life hits you, when things don't go as planned, when you feel like everything is against you, stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? Stop saying, I can't handle this, and start saying, this is making me stronger. Stop thinking, this is breaking me, and start thinking, this is building me. Because when you shift your perspective, everything changes. Your energy changes, your actions change, your results change. You ever see how some people thrive under pressure while others collapse? It's not because the pressure is different, it's because their mindset is different. The ones who rise are the ones who see the fire as a forge, not a funeral. They see challenges as stepping stones, not roadblocks. They see struggle as preparation, not punishment. They train themselves to see everything as fuel. That's what separates the greats from everybody else. It's not that they don't face difficulties. It's not that they don't deal with setbacks, failures, losses. It's that they refuse to see those things as the end. They see them as part of the journey. They don't magnify the pain, they magnify the purpose. They don't focus on what went wrong, they focus on what they can do next. They don't let fear dictate their vision, they let faith lead the way. And that's what you have to do. You've got to stop seeing the problem and start seeing the power inside of it. You've got to stop looking at the door that closed and start focusing on the one that's opening. You've got to stop feeding yourself negativity. Stop repeating the same story about why you can't. Stop letting your past define your perspective, because you can train your mind to see differently. You can train yourself to reframe every single situation. You can train yourself to magnify solutions instead of problems. And that doesn't mean you ignore reality. That doesn't mean you pretend everything is perfect. That means you take control over how you process things. That means you look at every situation and make a choice. Am I going to let this break me, or am I going to use this to make me? Because if you train your mind to always look for growth, always look for lessons, always look for ways to move forward, nothing can stop you. The people who get stuck, the people who never reach their potential, the people who spend their whole lives wishing for a better future but never stepping into it, those are the people who never learned to shift their mindset. They kept seeing the same thing over and over again. They kept telling themselves the same story about why they couldn't. They kept looking at life through a negative lens instead of stepping back and seeing the bigger picture. You don't have to be that person. You don't have to stay stuck. You can train yourself to see differently. You can train yourself to reframe everything that happens to you. You can train yourself to focus on solutions, to focus on growth, to focus on power instead of pain. And when you do that, your life changes. The way you carry yourself changes. The way you respond to challenges changes. And the way you succeed changes. So from this moment forward, make the decision. Stop letting the wrong perspective keep you from your destiny. Stop seeing problems and start seeing possibilities. Stop looking at life through a lens of fear and start seeing it through a lens of faith. Because what you magnify controls you. And from now on, you choose to magnify your power. Discipline is the bridge between who you are now and who you are meant to be. It's the difference between wishing for something and making it happen. See, most people let their emotions dictate their actions. They wait until they feel like doing something. They wait until the conditions are perfect. They wait until they're motivated. And that's why they stay stuck. That's why they never break through. Because they don't understand that real power doesn't come from feelings. It comes from discipline. You can't build a strong mind if you're a slave to your emotions. You can't master yourself if you only take action when it's easy, when it's comfortable, when it feels good. No, you have to train yourself to show up even when you don't feel like it. You have to train yourself to stay locked in, stay focused, stay committed, no matter what's happening around you, because the world is unpredictable. Life is unpredictable. Challenges will come out of nowhere. Obstacles will show up uninvited. And if you don't have the discipline to stay locked in when things get hard, you're going to fold every time. Discipline is what separates those who talk from those who execute. It's what separates those who dream from those who achieve. You ever notice how some people always seem to get things done? They're consistent. They're reliable. They don't let distractions pull them off course. It's not because they have more time. It's not because their life is easier. It's because they've trained themselves to stay disciplined no matter what. You've got to stop making excuses for why you can't be consistent. You got to stop telling yourself the story that discipline is too hard, that it's too much work, that you'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow is a lie. Tomorrow is the excuse you tell yourself to stay the same. If you want to change, if you want to grow, if you want to take control of your mind, your emotions, your future, you have to master discipline. You have to wake up every single day and decide, no matter what happens today, I am in control. That means when you don't feel like doing the work, you do it anyway. That means when distractions come, you lock in even harder. That means when life gets hard, when things get frustrating, when nothing is going your way, you stay focused. Because let me tell you something. Every time you break your discipline, you break a little bit of your confidence. Every time you give in to the excuses, you reinforce weakness. But every time you stay disciplined, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it, even when nobody's watching, you strengthen yourself. You prove to yourself that you are in control. And that's what this is really about, proving to yourself that you are stronger than your emotions, stronger than your distractions, stronger than the voice in your head that tries to talk you out of your greatness. Because let's be real, that voice is always there. That voice will always try to tell you, just take it easy. It'll always say, you can do it later. It'll always whisper, this isn't worth it. But you've got to be stronger than that voice. You've got to drown it out with action. You've got to silence it with discipline. Because if you don't, if you listen to that voice, you'll spend your whole life wishing for more, but never having the discipline to go get it. People think discipline is restriction. They think it's suffering. They think it's some kind of punishment. But discipline is freedom. Discipline is power. Discipline is what gives you control over your life instead of letting life control you. Because when you're disciplined, you don't have to rely on motivation. You don't have to wait for inspiration. You don't have to hope that things get easier. You just execute. You just show up. You just do what you said you were going to do every single day, no matter how you feel. And when you live like that, when you move like that, when you operate with that kind of consistency, that's when everything changes. That's when people start asking, how do you stay so focused? That's when people start wondering, how do you keep showing up no matter what? And the answer is simple. You trained yourself. You trained yourself to be disciplined. You trained yourself to take action regardless of emotions. You trained yourself to master your mind instead of letting your emotions master you. You can't afford to be controlled by how you feel in the moment. Feelings change. They come and go. But discipline stays. Discipline is the foundation. Discipline is what gets you through when motivation disappears, when things get hard, when nothing seems to be going your way. You think the greats always feel like showing up? You think the best in the world always feel like putting in the work? No. But they do it anyway because they know discipline is what creates results. And that's the key right there, results. Because at the end of the day, nobody cares how motivated you were. Nobody cares how many times you said you were going to do something. What matters is whether or not you followed through. What matters is whether or not you showed up when it was hard. What matters is whether or not you had the discipline to be consistent even when everything in you wanted to quit. So from this moment forward, discipline is your foundation. You no longer let feelings control you. You no longer let distractions pull you off course. You no longer wait for the perfect moment. You move now. You take action now. You train yourself now, because the person who has the most discipline is the person who wins. The mind is like a muscle, and what you feed it determines how strong it becomes. Every single day you have a choice. You can either fuel your mind with things that make you better, that make you stronger, that push you forward, or you can let negativity, distractions, and fear take over. And listen, whatever you feed will grow. If you feed fear, fear will control you. If you feed doubt, doubt will hold you back. If you feed excuses, you will stay exactly where you are. But if you feed your mind with discipline, with wisdom, with focus, with purpose, you will grow into the person you were meant to be. Most people don't even realize they're poisoning their own minds every single day. They wake up and the first thing they do is scroll through negativity. They let the news, social media, gossip, and drama dictate their mindset before they even take their first breath of fresh air. They spend their days absorbing doubt, surrounding themselves with people who have no vision, listening to voices that reinforce weakness. And then they wonder why they feel stuck. They wonder why they can't get ahead. They wonder why their confidence is low, why their energy is drained, why their motivation disappears so quickly. It's because they've been feeding their mind garbage and expecting to perform like a champion. You can't fuel your body with junk food and expect to be an elite athlete. In the same way, you can't fuel your mind with negativity and expect to be mentally strong. You've got to be intentional about what you allow into your space, what you listen to, what you focus on. Because your mind is always taking in information, always absorbing, always adapting to whatever environment you put it in. And if you don't take control of that, if you don't guard what you allow into your mental space, the world will do it for you. And the world will fill your mind with fear, with doubt, with distractions, with things designed to keep you weak. That's why you've got to train yourself. You've got to be deliberate about what you consume. If you want to be mentally strong, you got to surround yourself with strength. You've got to listen to things that push you, that challenge you, that force you to think bigger, work harder, move smarter. You've got to read things that develop your mind, that give you new perspectives, that sharpen your thinking. You've got to be around people who make you better, people who hold you accountable, people who refuse to let you settle for less than your full potential. And look, I get it. Sometimes you can't control the environment you were born into. You can't control the negativity that's around you. Maybe your family doesn't believe in you. Maybe the people you grew up with don't have vision. Maybe the people at your job, in your neighborhood, in your circle are filled with doubt and excuse. But you know what? You do have control over what you allow to influence you. You do have control over what you listen to, what you read, what you focus on. how you respond. You do have control over the content you feed your mind every single day. So the question is, what are you feeding yourself? Are you filling your mind with things that build your confidence, that develop your discipline, that sharpen your focus? Or are you feeding yourself distractions, fear, and weakness? Because let me tell you something. Your mind will always follow the direction of what you focus on. If you constantly focus on your problems, you'll feel stuck. If you constantly focus on what's missing, you'll feel empty. But if you focus on growth, if you focus on solutions, if you focus on building yourself up every single day, your mind will adapt to that. You've got to start being intentional with your thoughts. When a negative thought enters your mind, you don't just accept it, you challenge it, you flip it, you train yourself to reframe it. When doubt creeps in, you don't let it settle, you replace it with belief. When fear tries to hold you back, you don't give in, you remind yourself of your strength, of your preparation, of your vision. Because the reality is, most people lose the battle in their mind before they ever step into the real fight. They've already told themselves they can't. They've already convinced themselves it's too hard. They've already accepted failure before they even take the first step. And that's why they never move forward. But that's not you. You're training yourself differently. You're feeding your mind differently. You're putting in the work, not just physically, but mentally. You're shaping your thoughts, sharpening your focus, developing the kind of mindset that refuses to quit. And because of that, you will win. But this is something you have to do every single day. This isn't a one-time thing. You don't just wake up one day and say, all right, my mindset is strong now, and then go back to old habits. No, you have to feed your mind daily. Just like you don't eat one meal and expect to be healthy forever, you don't listen to one motivational message and expect to stay locked in forever. You have to be consistent. You have to train yourself every single day. That means choosing what you listen to in the morning, choosing what you focus on throughout the day, choosing what kind of energy you surround yourself with. It means cutting out the negativity, limiting your exposure to things that drain your mind, stepping away from conversations that don't serve your growth. It means putting yourself in a position to win. Because when your mind is sharp, your actions will follow. When your thoughts are strong, your habits will reflect that. And when you build the right mindset, there is nothing that can stop you. So from this moment forward, you make the decision, you stop feeding yourself weakness. You stop letting negativity control your mind. You stop allowing distractions to take up space in your thoughts. Instead, you fill your mind with strength. You fill your mind with purpose. You fill your mind with the things that build you up and push you forward. Because whatever you feed will grow. And from now on, you only feeding greatness. Life is always going to test you. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And when that moment comes, when the pressure is on, when things aren't going your way, when everything in you wants to break down, you've got to train yourself to pause, to breathe, to reset. Because listen, most people react off emotion. They let frustration take over. They let fear dictate their decisions. They let anger push them into doing things that make their situation worse. And that's why they keep losing. That's why they stay stuck. Because they let the moment control them instead of controlling the moment. You ever notice how the most successful people don't panic under pressure? They don't make emotional decisions. They don't react impulsively. They don't allow their circumstances to dictate their mindset. It's not because they don't feel emotions. It's because they train themselves to manage them. They've developed the ability to slow things down in their mind, to process before they react, to take control of their thoughts instead of letting their emotions take control of them. And that's a skill. That's not something you're born with. That's something you have to train yourself to do. And it starts with understanding that not every reaction is necessary. Not every problem requires you to respond in the heat of the moment. Not every challenge needs you to panic. See, most people make bad decisions not because they're incapable, but because they're emotional. They're in their feelings, they're upset, they're frustrated. And instead of stepping back, instead of taking a moment to reset, they react. And that reaction usually makes things worse. You ever send a message when you were mad, and then later you wish you could take it back? You ever make a decision when you were frustrated, and then later you regret it? That's what happens when you don't take control of your emotions. You've got to train yourself to pause. Train yourself to breathe. Train yourself to create space between what happens and how you respond. Because that space, that's power. That space is the difference between reacting and thinking. That space is where you regain control. When the pressure is on, when emotions are running high, when you feel that fire inside of you building up, that's the moment you've got to train yourself to step back and reset. Because if you don't, you're going to keep making the same mistakes. You're going to keep letting situations control you instead of you controlling them. And I'm not saying it's easy. I know how it feels when things aren't going your way. I know how it feels when people are testing you, when the pressure is getting to you, when life is throwing everything at you at once. But the difference between those who succeed and those who fold isn't the absence of pressure, it's how they handle it. It's how they manage themselves when things get tough. It's their ability to stay calm, to stay focused, to stay in control, no matter what's happening around it. And that's what you have to develop. That's what you have to train yourself to do. Because every time you lose control, every time you react off impulse, you're giving your power away. You're letting the situation dictate your actions instead of you dictating the situation. And if you want to be great, if you want to win at the highest level, if you want to build the kind of mind that can handle anything, you can't afford to give your power away. You've got to be in control at all times. So the next time you feel yourself getting frustrated, the next time something triggers you, the next time you feel like reacting without thinking, stop, pause, take a breath, remind yourself that you are in control. And in that moment, decide, do I want to react emotionally or do I want to respond with wisdom? Do I want to let this situation control me or do I want to take control of this situation? Because that decision right there will change everything. That decision is the difference between growth and regret. People who master this skill are unstoppable. They don't let small things throw them off course. They don't let emotions dictate their future. They don't allow temporary feelings to create permanent mistakes. They move with intention. They move with purpose. They move with discipline. And that's why they keep winning. That's why they keep elevating. Because they understand that in every moment, no matter how tough, no matter how frustrating, they always have a choice. And that choice is what determines everything. So from now on, you train yourself. You develop that discipline. You create that space between what happens and how you respond. You stop letting emotions control you. You stop letting frustration dictate your actions. You take your power back, because when you do that, when you learn to stay calm, no matter what, nothing can shake you, nothing can break you, nothing can stop you. You've got to understand that no matter what happens, you are always in control of your focus. No matter what life throws at you, no matter how many distractions try to pull you in different directions, no matter how much noise surrounds you, your focus is yours to protect. And the reason most people never reach their full potential isn't because they're not talented, not because they're not capable. It's because they let distractions dictate their life. They start something, but then they let negativity pull them away. They get moving in the right direction, but then they get caught up in things that have nothing to do with their goals. They lose focus. And when you lose focus, you lose momentum. You ever wonder why some people seem to be making progress all the time while others stay stuck in the same place? It's not luck, it's not magic, it's focus, it's discipline. It's the ability to lock in on what matters and refuse to let anything pull them away from it. Because let me tell you something, life is designed to distract you. Every single day, something is going to try to pull you off track. The opinions of others, the drama around you, the temptations that look good in the moment but lead nowhere, the doubt that creeps in when things get tough. If you don't train yourself to block out the noise, to shut down the distractions, to stay locked in on your vision, you will never reach your full potential. And I get it. There's a lot happening around you. It's easy to get caught up in things that don't serve you. It's easy to waste time scrolling, watching, reacting instead of building, working, creating. It's easy to let your emotions pull you into battles that don't matter. But if you want to be great, if you want to reach the next level, you don't have time for distractions. You don't have time for things that don't move you forward. You've got to protect your energy, protect your focus, protect your time like your future depends on it, because it does. You've got to be intentional. You've got to decide what matters most and then make a commitment to block out everything that doesn't align with that. You've got to train your mind to recognize when something is pulling you away from your goals. Is this conversation adding value to my life? Is this habit making me stronger or weaker? Is this action bringing me closer to my dream or pulling me further away? If it's not serving you, you cut it off. If it's not building you up, you let it go. Because every time you entertain a distraction, you are delaying your own success. Look at the people who are winning. Look at the people who are making an impact. They're not wasting time arguing about things that don't matter. They're not scrolling endlessly through negativity. They're not caught up in drama, in gossip, in things that drain their energy. They are locked in. They are focused. They are obsessed with their vision, and they refuse to let anything pull them away from it. And that's what you got to develop, the ability to shut everything else out and focus on what really matters. And listen, people won't always understand your focus. When you start locking in, when you start cutting off distractions, when you start saying no to things that don't align with your purpose, people are going to have something to say. They're going to call you different. They're going to say you've changed. And you know what? You have changed. You've elevated. You've grown. You've decided that your future is more important than fitting in. And if they can't understand that, that's their problem, not yours. Because at the end of the day, it's your life, it's your vision, it's your dream, and you are the only one who has to live with the results of the choices you make. So from now on, you train yourself to focus like your life depends on it, because it does. You stop entertaining things that don't serve you. You stop letting distractions pull you away from your vision. You stop giving your time and energy to things that don't help you grow. You lock in, you stay disciplined, and you move with purpose. Because when you do that, when you truly commit to protecting your focus, there is nothing that can stop you. You've got to understand something. Your mind is your most powerful weapon, but only if you learn how to control it, only if you train it, only if you make the decision every single day to discipline your thoughts, to master your emotions, to take charge of how you respond to life. Because let's be real, life isn't going to make it easy for you. Life is going to throw curveballs. Life is going to test you. Life is going to put you in situations that makes you question everything. And in those moments, when things aren't going your way, when you feel like everything is against you, you've got to be able to control your mind instead of letting your mind control you. That's what separates the strong from the weak. The ones who rise from the ones who fold. It's not talent, it's not luck, it's not opportunity, it's mindset. It's the ability to stand in the middle of the storm and still be in control. It's the ability to feel pressure, to feel stress, to feel fear, and still move with purpose. Because listen, everybody feels those things. Everybody experiences doubt. Everybody faces uncertainty. But the ones who succeed, the ones who win, they've trained themselves to stay steady no matter what. They've trained themselves to remain calm under pressure. Most people don't even realize they're prisoners of their own mind. They let their thoughts run wild. They let their emotions dictate their decisions. They let fear hold them back. They let doubt convince them they're not good enough. And instead of taking control, instead of saying, no, I refuse to think like this, I refuse to let negativity take over, they accept it. They let their mind do whatever it wants, and that's why they stay stuck. That's why they stay stressed. That's why they never break through to the next level. You've got to start taking authority over your own mind. You've got to decide that from this moment forward, you're no longer going to let your thoughts control you. You're going to control your thoughts. You're no longer going to let your emotions dictate your actions. You've got to train yourself to recognize when your mind is working against you and shift it. Because that's what this is about. It's not about pretending negativity doesn't exist. It's not about acting like challenges don't happen. It's about being in control no matter what. And it starts with awareness. You've got to start paying attention to the way you think. You've got to start noticing the patterns. What do you tell yourself when things go wrong? What do you focus on when you're under pressure? Do you go straight to doubt? Do you go straight to excuses? Do you start panicking, or do you step back and take control? Because most people don't even realize how much their thoughts are shaping their life. They don't even realize that every single day, their mind is either setting them up for success or setting them up for failure. So you've got to be intentional. You've got to start filtering your thoughts. You've got to start challenging the negativity instead of just accepting it. When doubt creeps in, you don't just let it stay. You confront it. When fear tries to hold you back, you push through it. When stress starts to build, you don't let it overwhelm you. You breathe, you reset, you take back control. Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to this. Either you run your mind or your mind runs you. And let me tell you something. The people who win in life, the people who make an impact, the people who live on another level, they don't let their mind control them. They control their mind. They dictate their thoughts. They decide what they focus on. And because of that, they stay in control. No matter what. They don't panic when things get tough. They don't break when life hits them hard. They don't fold under pressure because they've trained themselves to be steady. They've trained themselves to stay locked in. And that's what you have to do. Every single day, you've got to train your mind like an athlete trains their body. You've got to discipline your thoughts. You've got to master your emotions. You've got to develop the kind of focus that allows you to move with purpose, even when life is chaotic. Because when you do that, when you learn to take full control of your mind, there is nothing that can shake you, nothing that can stop you, nothing that can break you.